World history does show us that this always leads to problems down the road. Michelle, this is a good time to be old because the old people aren't going to have to pay for all of this. It's a bad time to be young. I've got 2 young daughters. They're inheriting gigantic problems, the likes of which the world has never seen. This is not going to be fun for somebody. History is very clear about that. And I go down to the shop and buy bread with Bitcoin either right now. But history would indicate that silver and gold probably have a better future because they're not trying to compete with the dollar or the yen or something else, something like that. It's very power hungry. They want to control everything and they want a monopoly. They do not want to let other people compete with money. But my view about what many of the bulls say is it's going to replace money. You can't take a taxi in China with money. You cannot buy ice cream in China with money. When the money is on the computer, I cannot imagine the US government is going to say, okay, guys, this is money, but if you want to use Bitcoin, go ahead. Go ahead and compete with us.
I recall that you told me that one of your guiding principles is that the main lesson of history is that people don't learn the lessons of history. So, Jim, how do you apply that wise adage to where we are in the current state of the US economy?
Well, that's a very good, insightful question. Good, well done. As you know, the US and other countries are spending gigantic amounts of money and printing gigantic amounts of money. Nothing like this ever happened in world history. World history does show us that this always leads to problems down the road. Michelle, this is a good time to be old because the old people aren't going to have to pay for all of this. It's a bad time to be young. I've got 2 young daughters. They're inheriting gigantic problems, the likes of which the world has never seen. This is not going to be fun for somebody. History is very clear about that.
Bitcoin might be fixed, and we're not really sure, but we think they say it is. But even if it is, there are going to be lots of other cryptocurrencies. Daniela, there are already over 2,000 cryptocurrencies, up from none 9 years ago. So there are plenty of cryptocurrencies.
So do you think it's a smart move for people to sell their Bitcoin and buy gold here?
I've never bought a Bitcoin, so, I wish I had. Everybody wishes they had. I'm not selling any of my gold. I'm not buying gold. I'm sitting and watching. I'm still waiting for gold to go down so I can buy more.
I've never bought or sold any cryptocurrencies. Obviously, I wish I had. I mean, what's Bitcoin's worth $60,000 or something today. I wish I'd bought some of it. Wish I'd bought anything. Wish I'd bought IBM in 1914, et cetera, et cetera. I doubt it because historically, if Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies become successful, most governments will outlaw it because they don't want to lose their monopoly. Every government in the world is working on computer money now, including the US. The Chinese are there already. And I cannot imagine that governments are going to say, okay, this is our crypto money, or you can use their crypto money. That's not the way governments work historically. Money is going to be on the computer. It already is in China. In China, you can't take a taxi with money. You got to have the money on your phone. You can't buy ice cream. So it's happening, but I doubt if it's going to be somebody else's money. History shows it will be government money.
So you think, you would argue then that the biggest threat to Bitcoin, which is now at over $63,000, is government regulation or government intervention?
Yes, if it becomes successful, Michelle, as long as it's a trading vehicle, and I know guys are making lots of money trading it, it's a wonderful trading vehicle apparently. But if it becomes a currency, which is what the crypto people say they are, and they will be, I cannot imagine that any government or many governments in the world will say, okay, you can use our money or their money. That's not what history shows.
What do you predict?
Well, history shows that, silver, gold, people I'm a peasant, Michelle. All of us peasants know that when something goes wrong, we want some silver in the closet. We want some gold under the bed. Politicians say, forget gold. It's meaningless. Bureaucrats say, well, I'm an old peasant, and all of us old peasants know, okay, fine, but just in case, I'm going to have some silver under the bed. Maybe it'll be something else, but so far history shows you better have something sound and useful. The definition is internationally recognizable, easily transportable, that the world will accept.
All right, well, we do have, of course, central banks starting to pay attention to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and digital currencies around the world, to your point. And Powell is actually putting Bitcoin and gold in the same camp. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about that.
We think of them more as crypto assets because crypto, what people call cryptocurrencies, they're really vehicles for speculation. No one is using them for payments, for example, like the dollar. What they're using them for is to speculate. It's a little bit like gold. For thousands of years, human beings have given gold this special value that it doesn't have from an industrial standpoint, but nonetheless, for thousands of years, they've done that. So Bitcoin is much more like that, and the cryptocurrencies are much more like that. They're not really being actively used as payments.
Do you agree with that? Is it like gold?
Well, it's
Or
certainly
is it just an offense to your sensibilities to put Bitcoin and gold in the same camp?
No, of course not. Anything that the world wants to use is fine with me. But he said the same thing I do. The people are using it as trading vehicles, which is exactly what it is so far. If it becomes a currency, then something else will change. No, there's no question that what he said about it's like, you cannot go down to the shop and buy bread with gold right now. You cannot go down to the shop and buy bread with Bitcoin either right now. But history would indicate that silver and gold probably have a better future because they're not trying to compete with the dollar or the yen or something else, something like that. Historic.
Well, you can increasingly use your Bitcoin to buy Teslas and more and more assets as it's becoming more mainstream to use that as a form of payment and to receive it as a salary as well.
If you watch what the government does, you will probably become a successful investor. Because if they start spending a lot of money on something, even if they're wrong, somebody's going to make a lot of money because the government throws staggering amounts of money into what they think should be done. Now, as far as when you say they're going to work, I own silver. I got some silver right here. I got some gold right here, and I'm not buying at the moment, but I will buy more. I have never owned any cryptocurrencies. Many of them have already disappeared, as you know, and gone to zero. Now, I wish I bought the right one or the right five, but there have been hundreds which have already disappeared. Listen, it's a great trading vehicle for those who are good traders, which I am not. I'm the worst trader in the world. But my view about what many of the bulls say is it's going to replace money. Well, money is definitely going to be on the computer. It already is in China. You can't take a taxi in China with money. You cannot buy ice cream in China with money. You only can use computer money already. So it's happening. It's going everybody, the U.S. government is investigating how to put all the money on the computer. And it's going to be there. But when the money is on the computer, I cannot imagine the U.S. government is going to say, okay, guys, this is money. But if you want to use Bitcoin, go ahead. Go ahead and compete with us. Come on, that's not the way these guys think. They're very power hungry. They want to control everything and they want a monopoly. They do not want to let other people compete with money. It doesn't mean it cannot be a trading vehicle till the end of time, but it's not going to be money, in my view.